You already know what to do. Subscribe, like, put it in the comments, and share the content. This way, we can help the channel grow. If it worked for me, it can work for you.
So it's not a great place for Americans to go at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to enter my career in business, but knew I wanted to stay in basketball. But a lot of my buddies, and you can appreciate this, Glenn, what the great game will do for your relationships and friendships. My dearest friends come from basketball, guys I know for 50, 60 years now, in all walks of life, black, white, local, around the country, doesn't matter. The people you meet, and I really enjoy that part of my life anyway, leave alone in basketball, that a lot of my buddies went on to coach at the NBA level, assistants, and college. So one of them is coming back. This is the summer of 1987. So I'm out of college now a few years. I'm making my way in my career, blah, blah, blah. I've already met what's now been my wife of 37 years.
Nice.
Who I'm happily married with. And one of my buddies is coming to town to go to a showcase that Bobby McKillop, who you know,
Mm-hmm.
right, the great coach from Lutheran, who's
Yeah.
now been at Davidson forever. Bobby's having a showcase at Lutheran. I had no idea what it was. My buddy says, meet me out there. I got to scout some kids. We'll go for a beer and steak afterwards, blah, blah, blah. I said, great. I hop in the car. I go out to Brookfield to Long Island Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet him there. He's late, of course. You have to know. You know Billy Bano. You know
Yes.
Billy. All right,
I don't know him personally, but I know of him. Yes.
Yeah, of course. Billy's one of my guys. So, again, we met at 5-star, and he's from Goshen. We played in summer leagues with and against each other. But anyway, he's at that time at a college as an assistant. Says, let's meet there. He's late. I walk into this gym, and I kind of see a few college coaches around. Now, Bobby's an organized guy, but it seems unorganized to me. Some guys have numbers on their shirts. Some guys don't. I see some guys walking around with a player roster, but not everybody. And I'm saying to myself, holy cow, this is a great idea. So the first call I make is actually to Garfinkel. I'm living in Manhattan at the time. And Howie, at the time, may rest in peace, also lived in the city. So I call up Garfinkel. We meet for lunch. And I say, Garf, I've got this idea. And he says, Steven, you're one of us. Whatever you need, you let me know. He says, the first thing I'm going to do is I think you should get a hold of Tom. Because that's when he had spun off the HSBI report to him with the NCAA's rules and stuff. So I then met with Tom. And between Tom Chinkowski and Garf, they kind of gave me the structure idea of how to run a really good showcase. And they would just get behind it from a standpoint of if a college coach called them, like, yeah, we know Bender, he's a good guy, get it off the ground. So that became the germination of the Bender Hoop Showcase, which I launched in 1988. Woo. And I've done every year since, except for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I originally ran at Iona College, when Pat was there, and then I moved to Manhattan, and I befriended Fran Fraschella, who was great there for a long time, as you know. And it just grew. I mean, some years, Glenn, back in the early days, right now there's showcases everywhere. So
yes.
The landscape has changed. But back then, Glenn, it was nothing for me to get 80 to 100 college coaches in for the day.
Mm.
And that's when D1 could come. So I would have Duke there, Kentucky, St. John's, even down to all Division II and Division III. So I was able to help all these kids of different abilities. And, it's the recipe that I've stuck with all this time, that I'll be having the Select 60 showcase this September at Purchase College. And I've been dwelling on the last couple of decades, the Division II and III, more because the way the NCAA, sets up the rules for what college coaches can attend and cannot. So I just decided to focus on that area.
Why do you think they changed the structure of that? Because I remember, when they used to do it in the city, that a lot of college coaches from D1 to D3 were all there. Now it's just, a certain select group of coaches from JUCO to D3 now. It's not like the D1s is not coming out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of, the big time guys wanted what they wanted, and they could force the NCAA to do it, because it really did the opposite of what they said it would do. Kind of make the landscape more fair. D1 coaches have budgets to be everywhere. The reality is they were not everywhere.
Right.
You can't be everywhere. There are just so many hours in the day. I don't want to be overly simplistic, but it's the truth. What it did, though, was it hurt the smaller, the mid-major, the low major Division Ones, right? So your Ionas at the time, your Fairfields, your Maras, it hurt them. That all of a sudden they couldn't go to a Binder Hoop showcase or anything else, right? So it kind of did the opposite, and it stuck that way, really ever since. Because it was only decades later that college coaches who run their own camps where they can make money by inviting students out. This didn't exist then. It's just a byproduct of it. Because some people say, well, college coaches can have their own camps. Well, they can, and they do, but not then. They didn't. But now we can, get 400 kids into a gym at $400 a pop. You do the math, right? It's quite lucrative for them. So I saw that pretty early on when the rule changed. So I just pivoted to where, D3 can still be out 24/7, which is the case to this day. And D2 right now with the changes as a result of the transfer portal, they've loosened that up too. They have the same rules and regs or not as Division 3. So I'll get those two areas of school. The emphasis really being the D3, because the transfer portal on the D2 side, they're really centering on the D1 transfer.
Definitely.
So it's not a Binder Hoops thing. They just don't need these things as much as maybe they did 5 years ago.
Well, the Catholic school had a great turnout this year, far as the level of coaches that were able to attend their team camp. And you look at the disparities between the PSL and the Catholic school. It's not even night and day. It's just like,
it's a shame.
It's like day and apocalypse. It's like, so the PSL they don't do enough, I feel, to attract the kind of clientele that they need for their players, even though they're the biggest league in the country, right? And they don't do enough as far as promoting their player, but that's a whole different issue. But let's just stick with the Catholic School League and what a great job they did as far as bringing out, college coaches from Stony Brook all the way to Michigan State and St. John's, right? Yeah. So that whole batch of coaches that was there that week, it was amazing.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So it's, as we've talked about, or you and I offline, the reason why, the Binder Hoop Showcase has been so successful is that it really gives kids the right exposure that they need. And what I mean by that is taking a limited amount of kids, right, making sure they're playing the whole time, having all the action going on in one gym on 3 courts, which I have at Purchase. So the college coaches literally have no other place to go but the one gym, the 3 courts to watch the talent. Because you go to these other events and these operators will overpromise and underdeliver, right? They'll take many more kids than 60. They charge an arm and a leg. And what exposure do you really get out of it? It's simply put is, I don't even take a college down the street, which they could easily overflow to some years in terms of demand from players, because I don't want coaches to miss anything.
Right.
So to me, it's about helping young people get to the next level, not about prospering from it. Because this has never been a money thing, a money earning thing for me. And anybody who's come to the showcase, who sees what we do and the investment we made is huge, and the organization that we run. But for what people pay or don't pay, it's the math doesn't add up. But as a business guy, I cover it because I don't want it to be diluted on why we exist, or else you become like everybody else. You're coming to my showcase that way. You're going to be one of 60 kids. You're going to play for 4 hours with appropriate breaks. You're going to be in a setting that's more combine like. We do 1v1, 3v3, 5v5 with some shooting drills. So your game really is profiled. Is really.
There's no hiding. There's no hiding.
And I get 40 plus college coaches in the gym.
Well, here's some of the colleges that you got: Utica, Skidmore, Canton, Amherst, Alfred, John Hopkins, Middlebury, Hilbert, Oswego, SUNY Westbury. Your school: Curry, Hunter, Manhattanville, Cortland, St. Joseph College, Hardwick, Colby, Bentley, Adelphi, Carnegie Mellon, right? just the disparity, so much. Brooklyn College, right? Drew, Plattsburgh, Pace, so many different universities and so many places where kids could go and become a student athlete. I just think the wide variety is awesome.
And here's the thing, Glenn. Yeah, I'm sure you preach this when you're out speaking as well. I get this a lot, right? Well, I'm not so sure I want to play Division III. I don't think I need to do that. Here's the reality of it. Less than 5% of all high school varsity boys basketball players in the entire country will play Division III basketball the following year. And you're telling me that's not on your radar? You're lucky if you can play it. And that's a huge disconnect. That's a whole podcast unto itself, by the way.
No, there's a kid who right now, I don't think right now we're talking about it's July, don't have a school to go to and turn down Division I offer, turn down Division II offers. And there's not just one kid, it's plenty of kids who, they bypass these situations not knowing that opportunity may not come back around again.
Well, that gets back to, expectations, lack of mentorship, either from family or their high school coach or travel, who's ever kind of steering the ship. As you know, especially in the city, the handler, quote unquote, is a real problem.
And it could be the parent as well.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
So it's, as I tell people kids all the time, and I say this in my showcase when I speak to the kids, if you get offers, you entertain and you manage and you respond to everybody, because you don't know how this is going to shake out. And until you sign with them, anything can change. And that's even after you've committed in November, December, January, February, and March. I've got college coaches still calling me, Glenn, before July 4th weekend. I'm looking for XYZ. You got anybody? And from where I sit, not being a high school coach up here, not being an AAU coach, I've got no horse in the race. So then I'll give them the honest opinion. Or what's the program like? I'm looking at this kid. What do you think? And I always very careful to not overstate what I do know and don't say what I don't know, because I really want to help kids.
Yeah.
But the reality is the kids and travel coaches take this part for granted. And I'm really convinced that being at this a long time, the high school coach and travel coaches, where they mean well, are they really equipped to handle the recruiting process? From an education standpoint.
Yes.
From a leadership standpoint is what I'm talking about. I'll go under the umbrella that everybody means well, which is probably not the case, but I'm not here to judge that, right? I'm just here to say, do you really have the tools to lead Marcus Brown, right? Les Williams, whoever it is.
Whoever it is. Yeah.
Right, whoever it is.
That's important. That's important.
And especially,
right there.
Especially for the city kids, right? This could be the difference between college and not. Pooh, you know that.
Yeah.
You deal with this all the time. So it really needs to be handled with extra special gloves. And that's what we bring from the Binder Hoop Showcase. When I talk to the kids about recruiting, you get real exposure. After 4 hours of being on 3 courts, playing the whole time, 40 plus college coaches come see you. If you're good enough, you're getting recruited out of that showcase.
Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped out into the world of